FH Sports.
Welcome to FH Sports, where we talk sports all day. You guys know our story. You know we're four brothers doing what we love to do in front of you. Today, we're going to jump right into some NFL football, and we've got an exciting week to cover. I'm your co-host, David. I got our host, Jeremy.
FH World, what's up?
All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into our sports recap. The first game we're covering for the NFL, I think we're in week number three.
Two.
Week two?
Yeah, week two.
Week two. All right, so week two of the NFL. All right, here's the first game. We've got the Bears and the Texans. The Texans win that game 19-13. And just in case you guys forgot, the Texans, that's one half of his Texas Super Bowl pick. So let's go ahead and jump in that Texans Bears game.
I'm not thoroughly impressed with my Super Bowl pick, but at the end of the day, a win is a win, regardless. But I tell you what, that Bears defense, man, that is a legit defense.
Mm-hmm.
When they played against the Titans and the way they beat the Titans, I said, what's the Titans? You can't really judge. But when they went up against this Texans team, granted, C.J. Stroud, he had one touchdown. Only one touchdown. Nico Collins had over 100. They shut the running game down. Joe Mixon, I believe, had like 40 yards. If that offense can actually sustain some drives, this Bears team might be kind of dangerous. I mean, they really might, but I'm at the end of the day, I'm proud of my Texans. Congratulations, Texans. You're making us look good.
Yeah, and I'll even give them the Texans this. Defense came up big with a couple of huge interceptions.
Yes,
that was because when you talk about the Bears offense, there was a couple of drives where they're pushing the ball down the field, and the defense comes up with some key interceptions. So they stopped the momentum, they killed those drives, and without the defense stepping up, then from your standpoint, yeah, that offense made put another touchdown or two on the board.
Yes.
So the Texans, I'll give them this. They've got the makings of a Super Bowl contender team in terms of if the offense isn't hitting on all cylinders, the defense is there able to step up and stop a pretty decent offense. So good job on the Texans. And I did want to throw this out there: the field goal kickers, man, in the last 2 weeks, man, they've been
especially they've earning their money.
They've been driving it. This game here, man, for the Texans, they had both teams actually, their field goal kickers did pretty well. So shout out to the field goal kickers as well. Just want to give them love. I know they don't get the love unless they hit a game-winning field goal.
I'm trying to figure out all the kickers come together collectively and look at these contracts and where's our money at? I mean, if y'all are kickers, y'all are showing y'all need that money.
That's true.
I mean, because y'all at the end of the year, most of the time it's always the kicker with the most points.
Right.
But they don't, like you said, they don't get the love and the credit that they deserve. But I reckon they putting this work in, saying, hey, we want some of these $60 million contracts. We can't get that, but we want something close to it. But hey, like you said, good job, kickers.
They're carrying right now.
Yes, they are.
So good job, man. It was a good game. All right, so that's our first game, the Bears and Texans. And we're going to also, don't forget, we're going to show you guys Jeremy's what his record is through the 2 weeks, his predictions, what he looks like. And we're going to let you guys comment and let us know if your record's better than his. So again, subscribe, comment. Yeah, we're going to dive into that record. All right, the Bucks and the Lions. Now this is potentially the Lions, maybe my second team I pick in the Super Bowl. Still trying to finalize that against the Chiefs, but anyway, Bucks win this one 20-16. What are your thoughts?
This all boils down to I should have listened to my gut last week. If you watched last week's episode, I was leaning toward the Bucks, but I had somebody on my shoulder over here, ain't gonna call no names. Go with the Lions. Go with the Lions. I wanted to take the Bucks. I didn't give Baker Mayfield his credit that he deserves. Baker is playing lights out right now, man. And they went into a hostile Detroit environment.
Yeah.
Granted, Detroit's coach got greedy and gambled and, potentially might have cost that team the game. But at the end of the day, the Bucks are showing, man, they are a real legit contender team. And to go into Detroit in that environment and pull out a huge victory like that, I'm sorry, Bucks. for not going with my gut. My good.
Hey,
I should have went with my good.
coulda, woulda, shoulda. Hey, go back and look at the film. At that episode, I'm pretty sure I said, "Hey, you want to go to the Bucks? You can still change it. It's not too late."
Yeah, you
But
did, but
I'm gonna stay with the Lions.
I was feeling the Bucks. Was it that week 1 4 touchdown performance? I don't know, but I really did have confidence that the Buck and I wouldn't have felt guilty about the pick, and I should have went with the pick. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, either all that. But at the end of the day, man, Baker Mayfield goes into Detroit.
Yeah,
and plays a decent game. The running game is solid. They picked off Goff twice, and he walks out there with the victory. And for Baker Mayfield, I wonder if he's looking at these contracts that these other quarterbacks are getting and saying, you know what, I just beat a $50 million quarterback. Granted, my team just beat a $50 million quarterback, but I outplayed him. I outplayed you, and compared to what you're getting and what I'm getting, I'm happy with myself. So look, Bucks management, I know they're happy because they got Baker Mayfield at their deal compared to what these other quarterbacks are getting, and he goes into, like I said, a hostile Detroit environment, and they pull out the victory, man. Congratulations on the Bucks.
And speaking of Baker Mayfield and these quarterback contracts, stay tuned because later in the episode, we're going to dive into some of these contracts and kind of give you our thoughts on how these are being arranged and just the outlook on the NFL and these quarterback contracts, contracts in general. But we're going to specifically talk about the quarterbacks for the NFL. So stay tuned. We're going to jump into that a little bit later in the episode, so you don't want to miss that topic. All right, so we're going to jump into our next game, which is the Jets and the Titans. The Jets take this one 24-17. What are your thoughts on that game?
Quick recap. When we previewed the game, there really weren't nothing to the game. To me, this was just who's going to actually step up and play a good game. Because week 1, the Jets look horrible. The Titans look good, but they lost. So to me, what's the real Titans team, and are the Jets actually going to do anything? And hey, leave it up to 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Father Time ain't caught him quite yet. But hey, he went in. He didn't have an efficient game. He was 18 for 30 for 180 some yards. He had the 2 touchdowns. But hey, he still showed he can play at a decent enough level to win games. And hey, congratulations to the Jets. I actually lost on that one, and I apologize to you because I actually thought the Titans, with the way that offense potentially kind of played against Chicago, how the defense shut Chicago out, I really did thought the Titans, this was their game. I did. I thought the Titans were going to step up, slap them in the mouth, and pull the victory out. But hey, the old man, Gray don't look too bad this morning. So, hey, congratulations, Aaron.
That's all right. And so with that concludes our sports recap. So now what we want to do is we want to show you what Jeremy's record is. So last week, his record was 1-2, losing record for the week.
Should have been 2-1.
So coulda, woulda, shoulda. He was 1-2. So let us know, did he get it wrong with your team or did he get it right with your team? So comment, let us know. Let us know, guys. We really want to let him have it. So if he got it wrong, let him know he got it wrong. And then his record overall. So he's 5-3 overall through two weeks of the NFL. So he's got a winning record right now.
What you mean right now?
He's got a winning record at this moment in time.
I ain't gonna keep a winning record, folks.
So we're gonna see what happens. So we're gonna show that to you. You should see that on the screen as well. So that's our sports recap for the week. Let's go ahead and jump into our predictions. All right. So our NFL predictions, what we're looking at, and what you'll notice before we jump into our predictions, you'll notice one game that was missing from our recap was the Cowboys. So Cowboy fans, he's the delusional Cowboys fan. I'm the realistic Cowboys fan, right?
Yep.
Well, they got slaughtered by the Saints. And I don't know if you have any words that you want to say about that game, just really quickly.
And
But you'll notice we didn't really touch on that one.
we hadn't touched on it because the Cowboys we're previewing the Cowboys against Baltimore.
Okay.
I was gonna kind of touch on it then.
Okay, we can say
It's kind of sensitive as of at this moment right now.
So we'll give you some time. What we're gonna do then? We're gonna give them some time, let them kind of mellow out a little bit, and we're gonna cover another game or two before we come back
FH
to that sore spot of the Cowboys.
He just had to go there, but it's okay.
It's okay.
I'm still a delusional fan, but we can continue.
All right, we're gonna move forward. We'll come right back to that one. All right, so our first prediction, our first preview, we've got the Saints and the Eagles.
Man.
And this has to be hard, man. This team just slaughtered the Cowboys, and he's got.
It's not hard. This is not hard at all.
Okay, I didn't know if it's hard talking about the Saints right now.
No, it's not hard because I tell you what, the Saints have put up 47 and 44 points in the first two games.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, the first game was against Carolina, so can you say that one but it still put up 40. The way they put 44 up on my Cowboys. Man, I am impressed. Man, thoroughly impressed. Derek Carr's got right at 500 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Alvin Kamara's got over 200 yards rushing in the first 2 weeks alone. I mean, this team, the defense, like I said, against Carolina, I don't really count that as a measuring game.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they come into my Super Bowl team.
Mm-hmm.
And they just didn't whip them boys. They slapped them boys in the mouth. Look, I'm telling you what, man. Dak is waking up this morning like, what hit me?
Right.
That defense, and granted, I'm not putting all this on Dak. I can't. You can't put all this on Dak. I mean, but when you're throwing 2 interceptions, it's kind of your fault.
Mm-hmm.
But your defense, this defense,
yeah.
In order to win a Super Bowl, you got to have defense.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. But when your defense is allowing 44 points,
it's tough.
Not 20, not 44.
That's tough.
Bro, I thought these boys were back in college or something. The way the Saints, Alvin Kamara looked like he was back in Tennessee, man. The way he run that ball.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. I thought Derek Carr back in Fresno State. I said, what in the world is going on here? Dallas, y'all got to pick it up.
Hey, it kind of puts me in the mind of the Drew Brees offense back in the day.
Yes, it
all
does.
Those points,
man, and this is when Derek Carr was released from the Raiders, it's like nobody wanted him.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to New Orleans. Those are big shoes to fill with the legacy that Drew Brees has left there.
Yeah.
Last year, they won 9 games. They didn't make the playoffs. So the fans are used to winning. The fans are used to getting to the playoffs. But for a long time, before Brees got there, they weren't.
Right.
They were a losing team year in, year out. Brees brought relevancy to that team, to that stadium, to that fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So Carr's got big shoes to fill, and man, he's doing a great job continuing that legacy that Brees built for those fans to go to watch the games every week, to go to the games every week, to say, hey, we're going to whip y'all today.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, did y'all whip us. So, I congratulations on that one, Saints.
All right, so the Saints and the Eagles, you've got the Saints of the dub?
Yeah, I got the Saints. Granted, the Eagles, they lost on a last-second drive by the Falcons. That drop by Saquon Barkley didn't help that game at all, but they lost to the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
The Falcons, they ain't what the Saints is.
Right.
So if the Eagles don't pick it up,
yeah,
boy, the NFC East is gonna have a bad week. I'm telling you. But hey, man, yeah, I got the Saints in that one. Definitely got the Saints.
All right, got the Saints, guys. Let us know, Eagle fans. He picked you guys to lose. Let us know what you think. All right. So next game we're going to cover game number 2. All right, we're going to dig into that sore spot a little bit. We got the Cowboys versus the Ravens.
Man, the only thing I can say about this game is this is a must-win for both teams, but only one team can win because the Ravens are 0-2, Dallas is 1-1. At the end of the day, if the Ravens go 0, if they're 0-3, you have 12 games. I mean, cause you got 17 games, so you got 14 games left. It's gonna take at least 10 wins to get into the playoffs. Could they possibly go 10-5? I mean 10-2?
Mm-hmm.
10-4.
After this game?
Yeah, 10-4. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, granted, Lamar's leading his team in passing and rushing. There is no way your quarterback can do that. And you have sustained success all year long. When he got hurt previously, last year, they had Huntley come in. Well, they're expecting that Lamar's gonna be healthy and gonna stay healthy. So they traded Huntley to the Dolphins. So I just don't know if the way he's playing now, if that's gonna get him through all year. I don't know. That defense, I don't know what's happened to Baltimore's defense. I really don't. They give up three scoring drives against the Raiders in the fourth quarter to lose that game. So the Raiders, they were losing, and I read they just said, you know what? This Baltimore ain't Baltimore defense. They ain't no Ray Lewis. They ain't no Ed Reeds. They ain't there. We can do this. And man, they put it on them boys. Lamar had that late interception. So Lamar didn't win the game, but at the end of the day, Baltimore defense got to play.
Right.
And then the Cowboys.
Cowboys,
look here. This is all I'm gonna say about them. I'm a delusional fan. I'm gonna stay a delusional fan. But my delusion is starting to wear a little thin when you're letting 44 points get put up on you. Dak, you cried, you want your money. I want my money. You got your money. What have you done? You haven't. You've got last week. You threw 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Your passer rating was 80, compared to Derek Carr's 143. So I'm figuring. I'm trying to get to the point of you want your money, play like your money's telling you to play. Cause as of right now, my Super Bowl team is. I'm kind of stutter on that one, but got me a little worried. But
at least one half of the Super Bowl pick is helping.
Yeah, but this
the Cowboys, and then the Ravens, man. I mean, I don't know what's going on with them. You know, they're 0-2. Granted, their first loss was against the Chiefs, and they looked really good in that game.
Yeah, they did.
It was a really close. I think it was a 7-point game. So
they look good. They look good in the first 3 quarters against the Ravens.
Right, then they close it out.
Yes.
So this isn't my prediction, so I'm good. I ain't got to worry about putting my neck out there because either way, to me, it seems like the Cowboys have to turn around and prove that hey, we're better than what we're showing. The Ravens, man, they had a tough first game that they lost to the Chiefs. The second game, man, they gave it up in the fourth quarter, didn't close it out. So it's like, can they redeem themselves type of thing in this game? And so with that being the case, Cowboys versus Ravens, who's your pick?
Man, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm kind of debating my pick. I really don't know, but considering I am a delusional fan, and I really do think that Dak's gonna have a bounce back game. He has to. That defense has to. But at the same time, so does Baltimore's defense. Baltimore's defense has got to have a bounce back game. It's just which defense is going to bounce back better. Because the Ravens' offensive, they putting up points. The defense is allowing too many points. Dallas' offense ain't putting up no points hardly. And the defense is allowing too many points. But at the end of the day, I'm taking the Cowboys in this one.
All right, you heard it here, guys. He's got the Cowboys over the Ravens.
Yes, I'm taking the boys.
Let us know your thoughts. If you're with them, Cowboy fans, hey, put it in there. Show him some love because he needs it right now. Raven fans, hey, let us know what you think. All right, so it's the Cowboys over the Ravens. That's a prediction for game number 2. Let's go into our final game. We got the Texans. So in this, Texans versus the Vikings. So we're covering both of the NFL Super Bowl picks in this one. So we got the Cowboys previous, and now we've got the Texans. So Texans, Vikings.
Man, I'm going to tell you what. You know why this game was previewed? I'm going to call the Texans with a Super Bowl pick. Called the Vikings. If you watched one of our previous episodes, It was a preseason episode where we talked about the Vikings,
Mm-hmm.
and they were playing the Eagles, and they beat the Eagles. That was my upset. That matter of fact, that was my upset pick was the Vikings over the Eagles. And you asked me, do you think the Vikings are a good team? I said yes. I think they're going to give teams problems. I was right. This Vikings team went into San Francisco
Yeah.
and slapped them in the mouth. Beat the NFC champions from last year. Last year don't count. But the Vikings are a legit team. And the move to get Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson balling out, he had 192 yards last week. Sam Darnold's got over 500 yards in the first 2 weeks alone. That's why we picked this game. It wasn't because of the Texans. It's because of the way the Vikings are playing. The way they went into San Francisco and did what they did to San Francisco,
Yeah.
they showed and they made me feel right.
Yeah, that was
They
impressive.
made me feel right. I felt good with the moves that they made, the way the organization has come along. I felt good with our previous statements, and man, Minnesota's looking good. And be honest with you, I'm taking Minnesota in this.
Whoa, okay.
I'm taking that upset.
Okay.
I'm taking Minnesota in this game. I think offensively right now, Minnesota is clicking on all levels. Man, they are playing good ball. Granted, so is Houston. Houston is 2-0. But Houston hasn't played the quality of team that Minnesota just went in and played.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Minnesota's confidence right now is through the roof. And once you give a team confidence like that,
Oh yeah.
that is something undeniable. Am I going back off of my Super Bowl pick because of Minnesota? That means I'd have had to replace them with that. I'd have had to take Dallas. No, Minnesota's not better than Dallas. They shouldn't be. I don't think they are. But as of this week, I think Minnesota's gonna pull the upset. That's my upset, and that's my prediction. I'm taking the Vikings.
All right. Hey, I was surprised at that one. I wasn't expecting that. So he's picking the Vikings over his Super Bowl pick, the Texans. So you got to let us know, guys, your thoughts on that one. You got to comment, give us some feedback. Hey, is he on track with this one or is he not? So we got our predictions in. We're gonna lock that in, and what we'll do is we'll recap and show you what his record is on our episode next week. So let us know at this moment too. Like, subscribe, comment, and just let us know who's your favorite team and who are you picking this week to win. We'd love to take a look at your comments, and we can even take some of those games that you guys put in the comments, and we can add that to our list to cover as well. All righty, so that's our prediction segment. We're going to go ahead and jump into our hot topic. So this hot topic for the week, what we're diving into, or we're looking at contracts, and we're really starting to talk about the quarterback contracts, the NFL quarterback contracts, and part of where the conversation is coming from is most recently Dak got his contract, $60 million a year, 4-year, $240 million contract, and we were having a conversation and really just trying to really understand how these contracts are coming into play from the standpoint of are you paying for, okay, you've got the performance of what they've done and you give them a contract for it, and it's kind of what are you looking forward to, really, like what's coming up next, uh, how much more productivity do you expect out of them, right? But then also, are we paying for stats, are we paying for wins, are we paying for seeing how deep our team can make it into the playoffs, like all of that. When we look at it, is it just a player with good stats we pay him, or is it a player that we're looking at saying they're making a difference on the team, getting us deeper and deeper into the playoffs? Or maybe we don't make it to the playoffs, we just have a winning record, but we never really get to the playoffs. Like, kind of looking at that. So before we jump into diving into the individual contracts, I want to set a benchmark.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to set this benchmark and say, kind of comparing the salaries and the productivity of a particular quarterback, for example, with the benchmark.
Yeah. Okay.
So our benchmark was going to be the magician, Mahomes. And here's why. Okay. So when he got his contract a couple of years ago, when he got his extension, 10-year extension, $450 million contract. All right, he averages 45 million a year. At the time, he sets the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we're looking at what he's done, right? We're looking at not only just getting deep into the playoffs, but winning multiple Super Bowls, right?
Yes.
So that is our benchmark that we're looking at to say, all right, well, when he was winning, getting into the playoffs, Super Bowl, this is what he demanded.
Yeah.
As for his contract, right? 45 million a year over 10 years. Or
To reset the market, because
yeah.
these contracts are resetting the market, and
Mm-hmm.
he was the first domino.
Mm-hmm.
So when he asked for his extension, that was resetting the market.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, when he asked for it, he had already earned his, and his was based off past, and we know what you're gonna give us going down the road. So I'm not even mad at that contract.
Right. So that's our benchmark. So now let's take a look at Dak Prescott, for example. Okay, Cowboys contract.
Waste of money as of right now, if you're asking me.
As of right now, okay. So when we look at Dak's performance, when we look at his playoff record, for example, he's 2-5 in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So you say, well, it's not really a good playoff record. He's not really getting us anywhere. And when I look at when I do look at his wins, I mean, we're talking about wild card wins.
I mean,
that he's winning in the playoffs.
To me, it's not about. To me, his contract's not about wins nor losses. His contract's not about playoff performance.
So stats?
It's not.
Okay.
His contract, to me, is based off what the last guy got.
Gotcha.
None of these, to me, all this boils down. None of these contracts that these quarterbacks are getting are other than Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes' contract is legitimate. But all these other quarterbacks' contracts that we've seen get extensions, to me, is none of them are based off past performances or upcoming performances. Because most of the quarterbacks that got these extensions, they maybe have gotten to the playoffs. They haven't done anything in the playoffs other than Joe Burrow, who did take his team to the AFC Championship game. He did take his team to the Super Bowl. And, they lost, granted, against the Rams. Outside of him, I really don't think there's no other quarterback that's got these extensions that have done anything in, I mean, in the playoffs anyhow. They've gotten regular season wins.
Right.
They've maybe gotten to the playoffs, maybe got a game or two.
Sure.
But they haven't had sustained success from previous years since they've gotten the deal.
Got it.
Lamar got his deal, and he's got the MVP from last year. He took his team to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
But he hasn't gotten no Super Bowl. He ain't got no rings.
Mm-hmm.
Tua. I mean, I'm not knocking these guys for getting their money. By all means, that's what it's about.
Right.
But if you're saying it's based off this or that, it's neither.
Is it the NFL is starting to overpay for subpar results?
Yeah, they're just not overpaying. They're overpaying substantially. And it's really, and I go back to an episode where you asked me before Dak got his deal if they should just let him walk. And I said, what could they get in return? Because he's got that no trade clause, but not most quarterbacks don't have that. That was an exception to the rule. But I reckon I think these teams are looking at, well, if we trade him, or if we get what can the next guy do? Can we get something just as good? When you don't know, because it's not like you're really getting out of the world results for the money that you're paying.
Right.
And as you're giving out these contracts, and you got other players that's performing at high levels, they expect to be paid too. And it really, to me, it's going to. these teams are really gonna get into this crunch when it's time to play multiple players. As I'm going back to Dallas
Gotcha.
here, and the way they're having to pay Dak 60 million, Lamb 30, a little over 30 million. Michael Parsons coming up for his deal.
Mm-hmm.
So you can best believe he's gonna want to reset the market, and that's gonna be high end 20s. All right, you got Trayvon Diggs. He had that he's had the he's got interception. If he comes back, if he plays up to his level that he played before the injury,
Mm-hmm.
don't you think he's gonna want high end money at the cornerback?
Got it.
Deron Blaney, when he comes back, he led the league in pick sixes last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna come up for a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you gonna pay all these five guys I just mentioned? Are you gonna pay them high end money?
Yeah.
You can't. There is no way. There is no way you can pay top of the market for your quarterback, for your receiver, for your top defensive player, your top corner. I mean, it's just no way possible that you can put all this money into three and four players and expect to build a team. And I don't know, I don't understand. And hey, look, I tell you what, credit to these agents.
Yeah.
I tell you, these agents are earning their commission
Mm-hmm.
off these contracts. Because I know if it's 10, 20% or whatever, bro, you need to get into the agency business. I'm gonna keep real
Well,
with you.
one thing I will say that I learned kind of looking through some of these contracts is there's a term that the NFL is using, or these agents, whoever's coming up with it, called voidable years. And so what it allows them to do is take a portion of the contract and stretch it out over 4 years, for example. So it can be that like Dax Prescott has 4 voidable years in it with the option for the team to add more voidable years. And that just means that his contract can be stretched out over additional years, whether or not he's playing for the team or not. So they could have that dead cap
That
space,
dead cap.
but it stretches a portion of his salary out over additional years so that they're able to stay under the salary cap to still sign and give additional contracts to other
But
players. So
think,
they're stretching. So they are putting some things in place where they can stretch out these payments so that each year they have a little bit more cap space to work with while still giving the player what they want. So that is something I did come across. And then just quickly on the quarterback. So when we look at Mahomes' contract, he at this point in time, he's tied for 12th in terms of annual payout for his contract. He's tied for 12th among quarterbacks. Our number above him, and these are a couple, the top three was Dak, Trevor Lawrence, and Jordan Love. That was at 60 million, and then Trevor and Jordan are both at 55 million each with two different type of contracts. One is 5 years, 275. That's Trevor, and then Jordan is at 55 million, 220 over for 4 years.
just those three quarterbacks you just named.
Yep.
What have they proven?
And so perfect, right? So their playoff record. So we were talking about because that was the thing I was kind of looking at, like with the performance in the playoffs. At some point, has to matter, right? Dak is 2-1 in the playoffs. His team is currently 1-1 in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Lawrence, his record is 1-1 in the playoffs, and his team is currently 1-1
In the
in the
season.
season. Jordan Love, his record in the playoffs is 1-1, and his current record is 1-1 in the regular season. And then
Jordan Love's 1-0 because he didn't start last week. Cause now he's hurt. He's out for multiple weeks.
right, got you. So he's got one win. The team
Yeah,
has one loss.
yeah.
All right. So then we look at, and these were a few names that you had mentioned earlier before the show that you just wanted to kind of have an idea on. We got Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, and Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
So Baker Mayfield, his team's currently 2-0, and he has a $33 million a year contract. It's $100 million over 3 years. He's 2-1 in the playoffs. So and he's number 19 in terms of contracts. He's number 19. So you've got the top three who combined have 4 playoffs wins. And then you got Baker at number 19 with 2 playoff. He's got half the wins that the top three have. All right. So again, just talking about performance. Derek Carr, he is 2-0 right now. With his team, he's got a 4 year, $150 million contract. So he's got 37.5 a year. He's 0-1 in the playoffs. So he would be one of those who hasn't really proven a lot in terms of playoffs, but I mean, his team is on the right track. And again, a lot of these quarterbacks have been awarded for regular season performance. And then Sam Darnold, he's on a 1 year, $10 million contract. and he's number 22 in the rankings right now in terms of quarterback contract. So pretty sure his team right now is 2-0. I'm pretty sure he'll see a nice. Um,
And if you ask all the teams that you just mentioned
mhm.
right now, if you took who would you rather have, Baker Mayfield or Dak Prescott? Majority of the nation gonna say Baker
I'm,
Mayfield.
yes,
I'm gonna take Baker Mayfield.
I mean that's where I'm going.
If you're at go to Jacksonville, who would you rather have, Derek Carr, Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah.
I'd rather have Derek Carr, cause Derek Carr balling out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, it's astonishing. It's astonishing what they're paying these quarterbacks compared to the last three you just mentioned. And look, those last three guys were 6-0.
Yeah.
The first three he just said are two
You got
or two and
2-3.
2-3. I'll take that 6-0 record all day
Yeah.
long.
So and that's the thing, and I'll say this as I'm thinking about these overpaying these NFL quarterbacks. The other side of this is we've seen at times where maybe like some of the younger quarterbacks that get drafted get thrown in too early, so they're not really ready to handle the NFL. I'm very curious to see, and I'm just throwing this out there to see if this opens the door at all for any USL. If you guys keep up with that league at all, any of those quarterbacks who came out of college. They're playing in this league, the USL League, and they are able to put in a couple of years in that league to say, you know what, maybe the NFL now tries to pull some of that talent who has a couple of years of professional experience where they
That's a
don't
good
have
point.
to pay for pay a 50, $60 million a year contract for somebody that's not performing in the playoffs or getting the results that we would expect. And now you bring over a player for maybe 20 million a year, and it's like, hey, let's give them a chance. They're not fresh out of college, they got a couple of years of
Yeah,
experience. And so I'm just curious to see if this opens a door to say, hey, we're overpaying for subpar results. And,
true,
and and the
true.
quarterback market in the NFL is a small set of teams, like top tier
Team.
quarterbacks, where it's like, okay, they're throwing for 35, 4,000, 4,500 yards consistently throughout their career, but they can't get it done in the playoffs.
To me that's what matters. I'd rather have a quarterback who maybe throw for 2,000 yards, but he's got me a Super Bowl.
Right. I mean, if you look at Mahomes, you can see like I mean, kills it throwing the ball. I mean, he's got 5,050 touchdowns. Like he's killing it. But when you look at the end of a game, you can see this man will his team to a victory. Like
I
you
think,
see things like there's just something different.
man, he's the type of quarterback. He can have a bad game. He could be having a bad game,
Mm-hmm.
throw multiple interceptions. His teammates will go another level to say, "Hey, let's just keep it close.
Mm-hmm.
If we give him a chance, he can do it."
Yeah.
So his teammates, they would not just pick him up. They will go extra hard for him because he showed them previously he's our guy.
Right. Right.
And I'm not saying these other quarterbacks, their teammates wouldn't do the same. But if you ask all these other players, who would you rather have, your quarterback or Patrick Mahomes?
Mm-hmm.
100 out of 100, they're gonna take Patrick.
Right.
They
Right.
would kick that quarterback to the curb, and that might be their best friend. They just went and had dinner, went and hung out at their house. But if you got a choice between your quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, you're gonna take Patrick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's getting to the point where you looking at Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, Sam Denard. These players are gonna start looking like
Mm-hmm.
he's getting 30 million and he's winning. You're getting 50 million. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really gonna come down to it's gonna affect the team itself.
Right.
So I really don't understand how these
Yeah.
quarterbacks are getting that money because it's nothing about performance. It's basically what last guy get.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
So we're gonna see. We'll obviously. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it, right? But we'll keep our eye on it, just kind of keep monitoring how this thing plays out, and see if something opens up where a team decides to say, "Hey, we're not gonna renew it with you. Your contract, your performance just isn't what we're looking for. Like it's not meeting Like your level of execution and the expectations are just not lined up. So we'll keep on and see if the NFL starts to do something different. So that's our hot topic. Last thing we're going to jump into are our closing thoughts, and then we'll get out of here. So what do you have?
Man, my closing thoughts are pretty much piggybacking off these contracts. I'm speaking to you as a fan, particularly Dak Prescott, because you are my quarterback. All these other fan bases have their quarterback. You are my quarterback. I need you to start playing like that 60 million that you just got. Granted, you're not Mahomes. You're not gonna put up Mahomes. You're not gonna do Mahomes things, and I'm okay with that. But bruh, I need you to do something better than what you're giving us right now.
Mm.
I really do. And that goes for all these other quarterbacks with these loyal fan bases who love their team. Yeah. I need y'all to pick y'all's play up and give these fans something that their money is paying for. Because at the end of the day, without these fans, you ain't getting what you got. Mm-hmm. So give these fans something to look forward to other than, well, you know what it's going to be this week. Don't do these fans like that. I'm a fan. All us brothers are fans. We have 3 that are Cowboy fans. We got a Giants fan. And granted, Lord, what is the Giants doing? But it's all right. But give these fans their money's worth. Because the way each and all these quarterbacks are playing is get all this money. These fans are upset. They're leaving these stadiums. They're looking at like, what? Right. What was you thinking? So I'm coming to you from as a fan. And particularly, I'm looking dead in this camera talking to you, Dak. Mm. This goes to you. You got your money. But you ain't played these first 2 weeks. You're playing like a straight scrub. A boom. And I picked this team to go to the Super Bowl off last year's performance. Because I thought this could be the year with Trayvon Diggs coming back. I think when Bland comes back, I said, boy, this defense is going to be solid. You got CD signed. I said, oh, yeah, we got CD signed. I said, we got to get a number 2 receiver. I think Brandon Cooks could be that guy. We got a good tight end. I said, boy, we can just get this line together and get a little bit of running game going because we lost Pollard. I said, boy, we'll be all right. We might have a chance. But the way this team is looking right now, we'll be good to win 9 games. Mm. And this is my Super Bowl pick. Ooh.
That's tough.
So that's my closing thought on all these quarterbacks, these contracts, and all this above, man.
Well, FH World, let us know your thoughts. Leave us a comment, and again, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
FH Sports.